Back in the 1970s, when I was just a young teenage magic nerd, as opposed to now I'm an old man magic nerd, but back when I was a teenager, one of my favorite TV shows was Columbo with Peter Falk.
One more thing.
And he played a private detective. And in season 5, episode 5, it's a story about a magician called the Great Santini, played by Jack Cassidy. And in that show, in that episode, they did some real magic. And one of the tricks they did was an old trick that's been around for years. And I just loved it. And I learned it there, watching it on Columbo. And then I took it and years later turned it into more of a card trick, something a little bit simpler to do and just a little more magical looking, in my opinion. And I'll show it to you. So I call this the Columbo card, or we can actually call it X marks the spot. But what we have here are 3 cards, 3 jumbo cards. And I'm going to say to my spectator, I've got 3 cards here, but I want you to know something. I've thought about these cards a lot, and I've thought about you, and I've thought about which one of these cards would you choose. And I have made a prediction that I will show to you after you make your selection, but I want you to do this for me. I'm saying to my spectator, I want you to choose one of these, but don't do it quickly or haphazardly. I want you to really think about it, because I might be using psychology to force you to choose the one I want you to choose. And so really think about it. Think about these cards. In fact, let's look at them. Here I have a 2 of hearts. It's the only red card in the selection. And maybe I psychologically did that so you would turn your eyes to the red card. Maybe I want you to pick that one. Or maybe I don't want you to pick that one, and it's why it's the red card. Or maybe I'm thinking you're going to pick the middle card because it's the ace, it's the favorite, it's the most valuable one, and it's in the middle. Or maybe I'm trying to sway you away from picking that card. Maybe I don't want you to choose the ace of clubs. And then, of course, there's the 3 of spades here, which is kind of obscure. It's not the only red card. It's not in the middle. Maybe that's the one I think you're going to pick because it's kind of off to the side. But either way, I want you to make up your own mind. And when you've decided which one of these cards you're going to finally choose, we're going to put an X on it. We're going to mark it with the X, like X marks the spot. Once we put the X down, that will be your final selection, okay? So you're going to ask your spectator to pick up the X and put it on there, and that will be their final choice, but have them think about it. And let's just say, for the sake of this video, they choose that one. And just by the way, whatever they choose, don't worry, you're going to be right, okay? Now you say, okay, so you chose a 3 of spades. I said that would be your final choice, but I feel kind of bad about that. I want to be fair. I'm going to give you one chance to change your mind if you'd like to. And if you don't want to, that's fine. Let's say they don't. And you've finally selected the 3 of spades. I told you that I thought about this, and I knew ahead of time which one you would land on. And that's why my prediction, which is in here, there's 1 card in here and 1 card only, and it is in fact the 3 of spades, no other card in the envelope. I knew you would choose the 3 of spades. Now, I'm going to teach you that trick, and obviously I didn't have a spectator here, so it's not as amazing, but I can promise you that whichever one they pick, your prediction will be 100% accurate. In fact, if you really want to dress this up, you can say, if I don't get it right, I'll give you $100 or a $10 bill or a $20 bill, whatever you want to do. Then it's even more intriguing for them. And it's also really intriguing if you do it the way I just did it and really make them think about the card, because there's only 3 selections here, right? So you want them to really think about which card they're picking. Now, this trick is actually called mind control. It's an old principle, and most magicians would call this mind control. And it's basically the same idea. Another way to look at this is just a trick, and I've said this in other videos, that has 3 outs. You're going to get out of it no matter what, because there's 3 ways to get out of it as the magician. So you're going to need one special thing to do this, besides I'm using jumbo cards. By the way, I'm using jumbo cards on purpose too, because I want this to play big. Since we're only having them select 3 things, I want this to be a deeper a deeper sense of mentalism. If I did it too quickly, it wouldn't be amazing. You don't want to do this trick like this. You don't want to say, okay, I've got 3 cards here, pick one, okay, that one, good, let's go. You don't want to do that. You want to really make it play big, because you're using psychology on them. They think. You're really not. You're using a trick card is what you're using, because that's one of your outs. And that's one of the secret weapons you're going to need. For this trick, I'm using a double face card. Okay, and this is something that should be in your arsenal. A pack of 54 Double facers is like 10 bucks, and every card magician should have them. A lot of the tricks I do, I need 1 or 2 double face cards. There's tons of packet tricks you can make using double facers, and that's what we did here. So in this envelope, there really was 1 card. I wasn't lying. And I knew the orientation of it. I knew that the 3 of spades would be here. If they had selected the 2 of hearts, I would have opened the envelope this way and said, look, the only card in the deck, or the only card in the envelope, is the 2 of hearts. So that's obviously 2 of the outs, right? So that's easy. If they go here, I'm going to pull the card out that way. If they go here, I'm going to pull the card out this way and go, look, I knew you would pick the 2 of hearts. Okay, so you're probably wondering, what about the 3rd out? If you haven't guessed already, you may have noticed that when I said I made a prediction, I didn't say that the prediction was in the envelope, because it might not be. I just say, this is the X. We're going to use this to mark the spot. I just said I made a prediction. I didn't tell them where the prediction was, because there's a chance that they won't pick one of these 2, right? There's a 1/3 chance that they'll pick this one. And that's great if they do. So if they pick the center card, okay, it's amazing that you put your X right there, because I thought about this. I want to show you something about the cards you didn't pick. These 2 cards here on the side are just from a jumbo blue deck, but the card you chose, not only is it the only card that's red, but I wrote a little note to you that says, I knew you would choose the Ace of Clubs. There's my prediction. All right. Okay, so what do you need to do this? You can do this any way you want to. You don't have to use blue and red. They can be all the same color if you want to. You don't even have to use jumbo cards. I just think it's a good idea to, just because it plays bigger, obviously. What you need is a double face card, and then you need the jumbo cards that match that, right? So my double facer is a 2 of hearts, 3 of spades. So obviously I need those cards to match. If yours is a King of spades, 8 of hearts, you would need that. And then any indifferent card in the middle. In the center, or in the center card, you could take it, you could write on the back of it. You don't have to use a sticker, or if you don't want to ruin the card, you could put a Post-it note, however you want to attach your prediction. So this is a really simple trick. I mean, this is a trick that kids can do. I mean, if you buy a magic set, a magic kit, you could get this trick, and an 8-year-old could do this. But it's very, very amazing because of the way you play it up. And it's really important to say, look, I've thought about these. Look at each card, talk about each card. Why would you think of that one and not this one? Maybe I'm trying to influence you. And that's really where the magic is. It's in the performance, not so much the mechanics. Although these mechanics are pretty clever. I call it the Columbo card, just in honor of that great show.
One more thing.
But it's really, in the annals of magic, they would call this mind control. Whatever you call it, it's super fun to do, and really, really an amazing trick.
One more thing.